Right. I was standing here with Linda from New Hampshire, and you had something you wanted to share with viewers that you thought they would benefit from. They can probably get it on the internet.
Okay. This is the Tuesday night book review from Murphy's Tap. And this book is Salvos Against the New Deal. It's a collection from the Saturday Evening Post by Garrett Garrett from 1933 to 1940. And where I first heard about Garrett Garrett was taking a course with Mises Academy on FDR and the New Deal. So anyway, when I saw this at the Nashua Library, I thought, well, this is one book I'd like to read this summer to get more out of it. And it's basically, he was very, very anti-FDR and New Deal, and he wrote constantly about it in the years 1933 to 1940. And at the beginning of the book, it actually talks about the revolution, but he's not talking about the revolution the way we look at it as a positive thing. He's talking about the revolution where the country was taken over and government was taken over by the president. Sort of a temporary dictatorship is what he called it. So, you know, you were reading part of that in there. So the entire life of this session had been 100 days. That was all the time it took to enact a complete temporary dictatorship in the person of the president.
They're talking about Roosevelt's first 100 days, the famous thing we hear about in school.
Yeah, standing for the popular will. In other words, this is the popular will. And it talks about him governing production, prices, profits, competition, wages, the hour of labor, debasing money on behalf of the debtor class. You know, all of this is you know, right here.
And you were saying that stuff that was in this book could be just written today, right?
Yes, yes. You could take one of his articles, sort of tweak the date thing, and send it in as an editorial piece or for some magazine or something, or Reason or something like that. And there would be, of course, with Reason, probably a lot of people there would already know where it came from. But it's very. To me, it's almost encouraging to read this because things went so bad during the Depression and so bad with the New Deal and everything, and yet we sort of recovered a bit from it. We're a little further down the road, to serfdom, but we didn't stay where we were. There was a lot of blowback against FDR, and we did get a lot of you know, recover some of our freedoms. Yeah. So this is an excellent book I would recommend reading this and comparing it with things going on today. And also,
you were thinking it could be found on Mises.org?
I believe a lot of his stuff is in PDF form and otherwise on Mises.org, because when I took the course there, we had readings from this. Yeah. And everybody's saying, "Whoa, Garrett Garrett, he's the man," you know.
In a nutshell, what does he feel like the cause of the Depression was?
Well, I don't. He got into this more in detail as the liberties were being taken away. So I don't know if Garrett Garrett himself went as deep into it as you know, with Tom Woods and those guys that are looking back at previous admins and how everything was starting to go downhill. You know.
Right.
But what he says against the New Deal itself is really pertinent today. And like I said, it sort of gives you hope that in spite of how bad it was, you know, feds coming out and killing all your pigs and everything like that, you know, on the farms, that we were able to get it back. And I think what's really good is that I think back then you didn't have the liberty movement in place the way it is now.
Right.
So that, you know, as we recover from this sort of thing, now we have something in place with the Ron Paul revolution and everything, like, you know, everything that goes along with that or parallels that.
Can you think of a way that Keynesians and Austrians could come to a mutually beneficial rapprochement or something like that at some point?
No.
So some of the Keynesians are being converted.
Yeah, well, you know, you've got to figure out, why are they Keynesians? You know, why are they Keynesians? Is it because they just learned it in school? Yeah. They all heard about the robber barons and they just assumed, yep, that's, you know, that's the story. That's what really happened. And those guys are, you know, with what's happening now, are sort of ripe for the taking. I mean, who would have known before the Ron Paul campaign that Rush Limbaugh would be talking about Keynesian economics and what a zero it is, you know? I mean, would he have even mentioned it before, you know? So it's pretty. You want me to turn this way?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the wind shifted, so.
Okay. It's you know, it's pretty cool how we are driving. We are driving the talk lines now, even though they want to take these for their own and deny we have anything to do with it. You know, we're driving the discussion.
Yeah.
You know? And man, how many times do you hear Keynesian? I heard Hannity say Keynesian the other day.
Wow.
You know. So. You know,
in a negative context.
In a negative
criticizing
way, yeah,
it.
criticizing.
All right, good.
So, so I think the people that just didn't even know they were Keynesians because that's just what they heard in high school. I think they're, you know, like low-hanging fruit. Expression. You know that as they hear more about the other sort of thing, they'll come around. So I can see that rapprochement, but it's mainly because if they're sincere and they want to know about the economy and what's happening, they'll educate themselves, like a lot of us educated ourselves. I mean, you know, who knew what Keynesian was? You know, who even knew what it was? It was just something you learned in school. So, so now everybody knows Keynesian bad. Now we got to get anarcho-capitalism or Austrian economics good, you know, so they can see their choices. And right now, what I see a lot of, especially like on Newsmax and all, they're always talking about Milton Friedman, you know, and what a great guy he was, and he predicted all this stuff going down, and. You know, so I mean, no offense to Milton Friedman. You know, there's a lot of things Milton Friedman has in common with Austrian, more so than anything. You know, but that's where they're at right now. I think it's sort of like, well, you can hitch on to Milton Friedman without we want to do this, so we don't have the baggage of being Austrians. Oh no, Ron Paul. You know. Yeah. So, so that's where it's at right now. It's at the Milton Friedman stage, and I think that if, you know, playing our cards right and everything, and introducing Austrian economics and the total package of freedom, you know, that a lot of people, you know, make their way over to our end of the spectrum.